Hello and welcome to another episode of On Campus. I'm your host, Mason Flores. Joining me is Maegan Moraes, athletic trainer for the Solano Sports. How has your job made you feel, and how much do you enjoy your job?
I really enjoy my job. It's actually been my first year as a certified athletic trainer. So there's been some challenges, there's been some growing opportunities, but it's been really fun being able to step into that role as a certified and just being able to work with the student athletes here on campus as well as some of our sports medicine students as well.
How has each sport differentiated from each other? Like you do basketball, right? You
Hmm.
do you do baseball?
Yeah, we cover all the
So
sports.
all the sports. So what makes each sport different from one another when it comes to you having to treat them and their specific injuries and stuff like that? Because I know
Yeah.
you can get a sprained ankle more likely in basketball, and
Hmm.
you gotta help them wrap it and stuff like that. How different is that
Yeah.
from each other?
Yeah, like you said, different sports have different injuries. Like basketball is more common for kind of lower extremity things going on, whereas baseball and volleyball might be more upper extremity things. Um, I say with baseball, we do a lot of preventative things. So they like getting stretched before games and practices, or if they're starting to feel like maybe their arms feeling more tight or more sore than usual, we try to get ahead on it before it becomes an actual injury. Whereas I don't feel like a sport like basketball does that as much. Maybe some athletes, but not all. Um, and then, yeah, just treating them like so. And each sport kind of has their different personality. Like some basketball players might be more outgoing, and
Mhm.
some baseball players might be more chatty, and others quiet. So
Yeah.
they just kind of have their own personalities, I would say.
How challenging is it for you to kind of, because you just said some are more chatty and some are more quiet.
Hmm.
Maybe sometimes they don't want to tell you what's going on with them because they want to get right back in the game.
Yeah,
How challenging is it for you to really find out the issues with them?
yeah. Um, I think honesty is really important in that sense. Being straight up with them, like, hey, I know you want to play in this game, but is that worth potentially making whatever's
Yeah,
going on worse? And then we're out 2 weeks.
yeah,
And then just laying it out like that for them, as well as, if something really serious is going on, it's like this isn't worth having a lifelong issue
yeah.
for because our job is, to take care of them, have them get back in the game, have them get back to doing what they love, but also make sure they're able to live a long and healthy life after their sport's over, whenever that may be. So just being transparent with them in that sense, and also getting to know their personality. So if say the really outgoing athlete it gets hurt and they're like screaming and blah blah blah, you're like, okay, if
Yeah.
it might be bad, but they might just be a little bit dramatic.
Dramatic.
Whereas if the shy athlete's reacting like that, you're like, okay, this might be really bad. So I think that's special, getting to know who they are so you can relate that to what's going on with them.
So big picture is what you really try and enforce on them because,
Yeah.
of course, I dealt with my own injuries too,
Okay.
and it's definitely derailed a lot of things. But what is your personal favorite sport to either watch, do, or anything of that nature?
Mm-hmm. I know we're not supposed to say we have favorites, but I always grew up around basketball.
Mm.
I played basketball myself, so I have a special place in my heart for the basketball players. We kind of speak the same
Yeah.
language, so I enjoy watching the sport as well as if someone's getting, if we're going through rehab with them, I'm able to tailor that better to basketball for them
Mhm.
because I know the movements, I know the drills that they do. And things like that. So I have a really fun time with that, and especially when we're at the end of the injury phase where they're almost back to playing again, and I get to go on the court with them myself, and they're like, "Oh, are you a coach? Are you still the athletic trainer?" So I have fun doing that, and so. Yes, I would say basketball, but
Basketball.
I do enjoy the variety of sports. That's a plus of the
Yeah,
community
don't
college.
get your feelings hurt up the sports. Um, what has been the process of you getting to where you are right now? How long was that process? How did you go by it? How was that?
Yeah, it was a journey, I would say. So I went to UC Davis for undergrad. I did 4 years there. I actually started out as an environmental science major.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know what athletic trainer was. Um, in college, like I said, I've been a hooper, so I played club basketball. One of my teammates, she told me that she was doing a physical therapy internship, and I was like, "Hey, that sounds cool. Let me check it out." I did that, and I liked it, but I was like, I don't know if my heart's really in this to make it my whole career. From there, I ended up finding sports medicine, fell in love with it, and then I realized you have to get a master's degree for
Shoot.
it. So, after my 4 years at Davis, I actually took a year off from school. I worked here at Solano as a student athletic trainer. And then after that year, I went to Long Beach State to do my master's in athletic training. Finished that last May, so a year ago, and then started working here at Solano as a certified in July.
Wow.
So about 5 to 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what made you really want to commit to it? Because you just said like you fell in love with it. What made that so special for you?
I think the key moment for me was I was doing sports medicine at Davis. I was working with the football team, and I had the opportunity to travel with the football team to North Dakota. And that was my first time ever working a football game. And I was standing there on the sideline, like everyone has this great energy. It's game day, like we're pumped. And like in that moment, I was like, yeah, this is it.
You're in
Like
the action.
this is fun. And especially like leading up to that, we were getting to the stadium at 6 a.m. to set up for practice, and we're out there in the heat, and it's a lot of hard work. And then you get to that special moment, and like all that hard work was worth it because now look what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's fun. We're in the limelight, so that really made it worth it. And I think it's important to have a career that it doesn't feel like work all the time. And that's what I found in athletic training. So even though it was tough and some days still are tough, it made it worth it.
You yourselves are athletes. You have to be athletes. You have to be able to be there.
Yeah.
You have to have the mindset kind of be a
Uh-huh.
team.
Mm.
That's kind of how it is for the sports broadcasting program too.
Yeah.
How important is it to have a relationship with your coworkers and the people you're working with? How important is that?
I think it's super important because you want to be able to create that culture with the student athletes. And if they see how you're interacting with your coworkers or their coach, that's going to influence them on what your culture is and how we're collaborating together, how we're all being a team. Because we all have the same goal. We all want the student athletes to compete, be successful, do that healthy, do that safely. So we all have the same goal. We're just working towards it in different ways. So I think it's important to be on the same page about that.
So, why would someone want to do what you do? Why would you tell someone to pursue this line of work if you're an athlete, if you're not an athlete? Like,
Hmm.
why would you want to do this?
Yeah. My biggest advice that I always give to people is try before you buy because it's not for everyone,
Yeah.
especially at different levels. Like I said, you could be in the grind, like waking up at 6 a.m. to start and things like that. So it's not for everyone, but once you try it out and if you enjoy and think it's for you, I mean, why not do it? It's a great field. You're able to be a part of the team, as you mentioned. You get that personal connection with the people you're working with rather than other healthcare fields. You might be seeing that person like once every 6 months. We get to see our patients almost every day. So I think it can be a lot of hard work, but there's a lot of benefit that comes with that.
How has the experience at Solano been for you? How has the experience for you working with the athletes? How have the community been
Mhm.
to you?
I felt really welcomed at Solano. Like I said, I was here as a student a few years ago,
Mhm.
and I think that community kind of set it up for me to want to come back. Because I wouldn't have applied to
Yeah.
come back if it was not for me or if I didn't feel welcomed. So I think that's really important. to feel welcomed into Solano. And then also helping the new student athletes feel that way too, because it's like their first year in college, they're shy, they're confused, they don't know what to do, and like being able to guide them in that way is really beneficial as well.
Now, can you tell to slight detail, because there might be some times that people don't know out there,
Hmm.
of what you do exactly for the student athletes,
Hmm.
what you do specifically for the injuries and stuff like that, and the
Yeah.
preventative stuff?
Yeah. So a few main things of athletic training is where you do injury prevention. So whether that's rehab exercises to help prevent an injury or we're taping, things like that. We do injury evaluation. So if you rolled your ankle at basketball practice and come in, I'm checking it out, making sure, okay, is this just a sprained ankle or do we have a broken bone? So we're figuring that out. We do treatment and rehab. So when someone does have a injury, we get them back to playing by taking care of them with exercises and using modalities and things like that. And emergency care. So we're at every home game. If a emergency situation occurs, we're the first responders.
Mhm.
So we're taking care of that situation, triaging until if it is a medical emergency, the paramedics get there.
So there's a lot of things, a lot of precautions. How do you, if you see a gruesome injury, how do you stay calm in the moment? Because that is a huge requirement
Yeah,
doing that. Because if you're not calm, no one's gonna be calm.
yeah.
How do you stay composed in those moments?
Yeah, it is hard. It does take a toll, but you know, you have to just keep a clear mind as much as you can, and just try to control the situation, um, while taking care of the athlete because they're not going to be calm. They're freaking out. This is scary for them. So you have to be that comfort for them. And I think reminding myself of that helps in those situations.
Well, thank you for joining me on this episode of On Campus. I've been your host, Mason Flores.
Thank you for
Thank you for
having
having
me.
me.
Thanks.
The exponential growth from the program from my first year to my third year now, that's what keeps me coming back and keeps me excited and just like fulfills me as a person.
It's so impressive, and we every time we walk in here, you guys are doing something different. It's great. It's
nothing but opportunities here, and we have sports to cover, we have the equipment.
Because the more ambitious you are, the more opportunities you'll have.
on-the-job training is huge.
Get the hands-on experience.
When someone asks who can do it, you know, you can raise your hand and say, I can do it. So
Joining the class was the best decision I ever made.
Stand by, we're going to go to cut one. And cut one. Cross court to Audrey Jones. Audrey for three! It is good! With 1.3 seconds left on the game clock, Audrey Jones with one of the biggest shots.
the sky's the limit, really, with what we can do here.